This video was sponsored by Enhance, Elbilmek, ABRP Planner, Kempower and Bilkomponenter. Yo, what's up? You guys heard that the Mercedes CLA charges pretty fast, 320 kilowatt. I'm going to show you guys how fast it charges in this video. So let's roll the tape to see that we are using actually Neo 480 kilowatt Gen 3 charger. So it requests around 350 kilowatt in the beginning. Now it starts throttling slightly, but it's already at 20% after 2 minutes. Amazing how fast it is. I also include Seeker 7X. It's kind of weird layout there, but okay. And then also ID7, that's 400 volt, and the Model 3 is 400 volt. But just look how fast the Seeker is. It's already at 35%, but then CLA is right behind it. Model 3 is just the slowest of them all here, pretty much. Well, actually, ID7, but Model 3 has a smaller battery. But okay, back to the CLA. After a while now, it starts throttling, but we are already at 40% after 7 minutes, and we are roughly at 200 kilowatt. Seeker still leading with over 50%. But now you start seeing how much Model 3 is lagging behind Tesla. Man, they have good efficiency, but when it comes to charging, it's really lagging behind all the other cars here. Ioniq 5 goes fairly fast. It has a more flat charging curve, 200 kilowatt, even at 50%. Actually kind of catching up with the CLA. CLA starts throttling a little bit now. It's going slower than the Ioniq 5. Uh-oh. What about the Seeker? Man, the Seeker is just amazingly fast. 70% already. Whoa. And then Model 3 hasn't even hit 50%. Wow. Well, okay, back to the CLA. Still maintaining okay speed, but you can see actually include the charging curve in a nice Neo charger. See, it starts throttling, but it has a relatively flat charging curve, even though the power is goes to 640 maximum. But okay. Seeker already passed 80%. What the heck happened there? I didn't even notice it. But which car is in a second? Oh, Ioniq 5 is actually leading ahead of the CLA. Whoa. All right, and then Model 3 is just so far behind, man, only 60%. Seeker is about to hit 90% already. And then CLA is still on a okay third place, right behind the Ioniq 5. But now the Ioniq starts throttling also, whereas the CLA can actually maintain okay speed. Wow, look at that. Now it's just neck and neck between Ioniq 5 and CLA. Seeker already hit 90%. Man, it's just so one-sided. But okay, back to the Ioniq battle. You see that Ioniq starts throttling a lot now. It's just falling apart past 80%. Whereas the German CLA can still maintain okay speed past 80%. Seems like going to 90% even has okay speed. What the heck, man? Model 3 is only at 72%. Okay, who cares about Tesla? Okay, back to the CLA. CLA is about to hit 90%. Okay, we didn't win over the Seeker, but still seems to be the good second place here to 9%. There, yes, after 28 minutes. Very decent. Now it's just neck on neck between Ioniq 5 and ID7. Very also impressive with the ID7 that is only 400 volt architecture, but it can still charge quite fast, right? Wow, Seeker is about to hit 100%. Well, okay, but the CLA is starting to gain on the Seeker. Wow. Well, okay, maybe this is just how it is. Once you go close to 100%, then it takes forever, and then it becomes more even between the cars. Well, except for that Model 3 just hit 80%. Took 33 minutes to hit 80%. Okay, they don't talk too loud about 10 to 80% charging speed, do they? But CLA can maintain okay speed now. You see, towards the end, to 100%, it seems like the Seeker and the CLA, they need roughly the same time. Well, also ID7, this is German tech. Well, okay, except for the Seeker, it's not German, but okay. I think Seeker will be hit 100% first, so Seeker just takes all the win today. It's one-sided, okay, it's unfair to include a Chinese car here. Okay. Next time we're gonna include the Chinese cars then. But, well, actually, it ain't over until it's over. And then the ID7 and the Seeker and the CLA, they're both at almost 100. Okay, Seeker won, all right. But the ID7 is right behind. Wow, towards the end, the ID7 charges way faster than CLA. Okay, it's not only about charging to 80% in it. You want to charge to maybe 90% or 100% because you paid for the whole battery. You're going to use the whole battery. Okay, and then the CLA goes to 90%. To 100%, but it takes a while, but still relatively fast because Model 3 hasn't even hit 90% yet. What the heck? It's like watching paint drying. There! The slow clap to Tesla, 45 minutes to reach 90%. Holy macaroni, that is slow. This is even the Model 3 Highland or the Model Y Juniper. So, okay, well, we're gonna test the 5G battery, whatever it's called, but okay. I mean, yeah, Seeker best, and then CLA or somebody other second. So the highest curve here, that's Seeker, going a little bit, well, I don't know what's up with this, the little dip here. Is that a thermal dip? Seems like many Chinese cars, they have a little dip here. Maybe they're just going way too fast. A little rocky mountain here versus the nice and even CLA. But yeah, you see, these cars, they ramp up kind of slow compared to Tesla. Tesla ramps up really fast. That's why it actually had okay lead. Yeah, that makes sense. The Tesla was leading over the two other cars, had the Ioniq and the ID7, but then eventually Tesla just falls behind. You see the lowest line here is Tesla. Well, who cares about that? But actually very impressive charging curve with CLA. Can maintain okay speed here, but then eventually actually it goes, well, it goes a little bit below Ioniq 5, but I mean, the Koreans, they're all about having this weird charging curve. This is more normal charging curve if you want to push the maximum speed. But what I'm going to point out is that the red line here, the CLA, can actually maintain okay speed even past 80%. Whereas you see the Korean just collapses more or less past it. It goes down to the Tesla level. Oh, the level of shame, yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Overall, though, CLA charges pretty fast. However, I've seen it when I did the test that the CLA's charging curve is somewhat random. It's not that consistent every time. And also, I tried to figure out more about the overheating. I'm not sure. Of course, some CLA fanboys will claim that no, there's no overheating. It works by design. I'm not buying it completely because from what I've seen in the 1,000 kilometer challenge, when you hammer it on the 120 kilometers per hour zone and you go on that speed plus VAT, then it seems to actually charge a bit slower than I would expect versus when I did the more controlled charging test now in Norway, where I didn't drive that fast, right, and the battery wasn't that hot. Plus that when I run HVAC, it tends to steal the cooling from the battery cooling, and that seems to actually make the temperature go past 52 degrees Celsius, which seems to be the temperature where things start overheating. However, I don't have any insight in the BMS other than the battery temperature that you can see in the car. But when I did that little experiment where I got only 140 kilowatt, sorry, at 50%, and then I disconnected and then I cooled down the battery by taking a little loop. Then I came back to the Ioniq and I plugged in again. Then suddenly, instead of getting 140 kilowatt, I got around 200 kilowatt. But was that because of overheating? Because the battery cooled down several degrees. It went way below 50 degrees Celsius. Or was it just works by design because you have like a burst of speed and then eventually it throttles? Well, for now, I don't know for sure. I suspect overheating, but there could also be some kind of BMS limiting, however. So, yeah. But overall, though, it charges pretty fast. Fast enough for most normal people anyway. So, that's going to be for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.